Hi, I'm Matt Damon. I play astronaut Mark Watney in The Martian. In the story, my character is accidentally stranded on Mars. Sending people to Mars and returning them safely is the challenge of a generation. The whole world held its breath when the Curiosity rover landed in 2012. The boot prints of astronauts will follow those rover tracks, thanks to innovations happening today. NASA's journey to Mars begins on the International Space Station, some 250 miles overhead, where we're learning how humans can thrive over long periods without gravity. Future round trips to Mars could take 500 days or longer. This year, NASA launched the first one-year mission to the International Space Station to help prepare for those future journeys. Here at home, people are working across the country on the new Orion spacecraft and Space Launch System rocket that will carry astronauts farther than ever before. When we invent new technologies for exploration, it benefits all of humanity. But more than that, the journey to Mars will forever change our history books, rewriting what we know about the red planet and expanding a human presence deeper into the solar system. Follow NASA's journey to Mars at www.nasa.gov.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to NASA's Digital Learning Network. My name is Michael Hare, and I'm going to be your host today for Surviving and Thriving on Mars, an interactive educational event where we're going to bring multiple schools in, talk to some experts here at NASA at both the Johnson Space Center and the Ames Research Center. We're going to have a great time today learning what it's going to take to send humans to Mars, how we're going to live on the surface, and how we're going to return them safely to the Earth. Now, as you know, NASA is currently building the foundations of actually making this amazing journey. We're building the spacecraft like the Orion Multi-Purpose Crew Vehicle. We're building the next generation rocket, the Space Launch System, and we're pulling it all together with the ground support development and systems operations. So we're doing a lot of work to get us flying, especially on America's next space vehicle and traveling into space. And not just around low Earth orbit, we're going to journey away from Earth and go to some amazing places like Mars. Now, we're going to learn a lot about Mars, and what better way to learn from the experts? Now, we've got three very special experts, and getting to Mars is a very complicated and very difficult task. So how do we do it? First, we come up with the idea. We have to get inspiration, and what better way to get inspiration from writers and artists and creative types that actually spark our imagination and get us moving in the right track. We've got a science fiction writer today, Andy Weir, who's a writer for The Martian, who's just about to come out in theaters, and it's an amazing book if you get a chance to read it. And he actually does a book about an astronaut that gets stranded on Mars and has to use his ingenuity and his intelligence and his engineering skills in order to make sure they can get back to Earth and actually stay alive and survive on the Martian surface. So we're going to talk to Andy Weir. Andy, you there at Ames Research Center? You want to say hi?
Hi, everybody. How you doing?
All right, excellent. Thank you so much. Now, we're going to come to you and get a lot of information about how you came up with your ideas in just a second. But once we have those ideas, we need to put them into concrete tasks. And we need to learn and have a base of knowledge before we can actually create the missions to go to Mars. So we need really brilliant scientists that study not only the Earth, but other celestial bodies in our solar system. And today we've got Dr. McKay, who's going to be talking to us. He is a planetary scientist working at the Ames Research Center, and his specialty is astrogeophysics. And he's going to talk about the Mars itself, what it can hold, can it support life, can astronauts live on the Martian surface, and how will we actually do that? So Dr. McKay, are you there?
Yeah, I am. And hello, everybody. Good to be talking with you.
Excellent. And then finally, we have those brave, courageous folks that actually explore space, the astronauts that are going on these missions right now. We're actually learning a lot on the International Space Station. We have astronauts up there, two of them staying up for one whole year to learn about long-duration spaceflight. And we actually have an astronaut in our studio. Ricky Arnold is going to talk to you guys about the human element. How are we going to get water? How are we going to get air? How are we going to keep those astronauts alive in a pressurized vessel, not only journeying to Mars, but also living on the surface or in their spacesuits? So he's going to talk to us in a little bit. But first, I want to see who's connected as well. We've got several active participants, high schools around the country. And first, you guys get ready to unmute your microphones and say hi. The first location I wanted to go to is Holden High School in Holden, Missouri. Can you guys unmute your microphone and give a big warm welcome to our special guest today? Excellent job. All right, wonderful. So that's Holden High School. Now, Carver Middle School is trying to get connected. They were fortunate enough to send in questions before, so if they can't get connected, I will go ahead and ask the questions that they've already submitted. But now let's go to the third client. Basically, it's East Stroudsburg South High School in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. East Stroudsburg, are you there? Excellent. Looks like we got the whole classroom full. Wonderful. So we're really excited about getting to your questions. This is what we want. We want an interactive educational event. And guys, remember, you're the ones that are actually going to be doing this. We're laying the foundations right now here at NASA, building the vehicles, testing them out. But you guys are going to be improving on that technology, advancing our human spaceflight, and you're the ones that are actually going to be landing on Mars. So we're really excited. Hopefully you guys get excited about talking to our guest today. And let's go ahead and jump in. Now, first I wanted to talk to Andy Weir. We're going to go to the Ames Research Center. And Andy's going to give us a little information about what his inspiration was, how he did his research for having astronauts go to Mars, and just some of the insight into the creation of his book, The Martian. So take it away, Andy.
Thanks. Well, I've just been a space dork my whole life, and so it wasn't really a big deal for me to shift into writing about it. I've always been a fan of this stuff, and I was sitting around wondering, how could we do a manned mission to Mars? Same as all the NASA folks do, only they're experts and I'm not. And so I thought, okay, so how do we get the astronauts there? How do we keep them alive on the surface? How do we get them home? And just generally, how could this work with today's technology? No new made-up fantasy crap, just real stuff. So what do we do? Well, I came up with a mission profile that I think would work well, and then any mission plan needs to deal with failures and potential problems. And so, okay, what does the crew do if this thing breaks? What if this other thing breaks? What if these two things break at the same time? There needs to be a plan in place for how that, what they do, fallbacks, backups, that sort of thing. Well, I started to realize that these increasingly desperate situations might make for a good story. So I created an unfortunate protagonist and subjected him to all of it because I'm an angry god. So I realized that, I kind of had a story here, but I really wanted to be scientifically accurate. Because over the past 10 years, or over the prior 10 years, I picked up a reader base that was a bunch of science dorks like myself. People who are nitpicky little, just always want everything to be accurate. And it's always really important to them and me that the science be correct. So I ended up doing a ton of research to find out exactly how all these things work. And I didn't know anyone in aerospace at the time. I do now, but I didn't then. And so I did all my research just with Google. And about 90% of the time, I ended up on Wikipedia. So that's pretty much how the research effort went. But that was the easy part. The hard part for me is the actual writing. It's easy for me to look stuff up about space because I enjoy that. So, but during my time messing around, learning things about Mars and interplanetary space travel, I learned a few strange and fun facts, which I'll share with you here. First off, the largest mountain in our solar system is Olympus Mons. It's on Mars, and everybody knows that, or most people know that. It's about 8 times the height of Mount Everest, I think, or is it 4 or 6? I don't know. It's many times the height of Mount Everest, and it is so wide that the base of it is about the size of the state of Nevada. So that's how big that mountain is. But it's so wide compared to its height that the grade, the angle of the mountainside, of the slope, is so gentle that you wouldn't even know you were on a mountain if you were standing on it. To you, it would look like you're on a flat, featureless plain because it's that subtle. And in fact, the curvature of Mars, just the horizon, has a larger effect on the grade than the actual mountain itself. So you could be standing on the largest mountain in the solar system and you'd think you were in a flat, featureless plain. Kind of weird, huh? The other thing I found out is that Mars has two moons, Phobos and Deimos, and they both circle Mars in the same direction, the kind of predominant direction that almost everything goes around in the solar system. And so you'd think they would both cross the sky in the same direction, but it turns out they don't, because Phobos is so close to Mars that it orbits Mars faster than Mars rotates on its own axis. So if you're on Mars, Phobos and Deimos appear to be going opposite directions in the sky. I always thought that was kind of a neat little bit of trivia. So those are a few of the things I found out while doing research. I found out an awful lot more, but I won't bore you with all the technical details. But if you want to see that stuff, I advise you to read my book. Buy multiple copies. In fact, you should just buy them for all your friends. It's in 35 languages. You should buy one of each, I think.
All right. Thank you so much, Andy. We really appreciate it. And hopefully that gave you a little insight on some of the research that he did, getting the really neat information for the book itself and just for learning about Mars. Hopefully you guys get really interested after this program and start learning about Mars. I've got lots of great websites for you guys to go to at the end of it, and I'll put that up on the screen. Next, we're going to go to Dr. Chris McKay, who is a planetary scientist at the Ames Research Center as well. And he is actually going to be talking to you about Mars itself and what we can gain by actually going to Mars, how hospitable it is, what we can actually learn from the Martian surface. And so now I'm going to hand it over to Dr. McKay.
Thanks. I think an important point that's being made here, and it's being made in the book, The Martian, and the movie, is that Mars is a place where humans can obtain everything they need to survive. We can get water in the environment of Mars. We can get oxygen in the environment of Mars. We can grow food on Mars. And we can obtain energy from the sun and from the wind on Mars. So in a fundamental way, Mars is a place where humans can live and work. And that's what makes it so attractive. And that's what makes it such a great setting for stories like The Martian and for movies like this movie, The Martian, as well. Mars is a place that in a way is calling us. It's saying, everything you need is here. Come check it out. And it's that same abundance of resources, water, oxygen, carbon dioxide, Earth-like environments, evidence of past water, that indicates that perhaps in the past Mars had life. And that becomes the science driver. So the story of Mars is a story of life. Life in that humans can survive on Mars, that everything needed to support life is there, and a story about life in that all these same resources may have made Mars habitable in the past and may have supported a biosphere once long ago, and we may learn a lot of fundamental science information. So it's a compelling destination, and I'm very excited by the success of this book and the prospect of this movie in reminding us why Mars is so exciting, why we need to send humans, why robots are not enough. Ultimately, Mars is a story about life. We need to learn how to send humans there, and that's fundamentally what we're doing now, developing the technologies and learning on the space station how to do that, and I think that's what we're going to go to next.
All right, and that's an excellent tie-in to what Ricky Arnold, a NASA astronaut, wants to talk about, because we do have people living up on the International Space Station. We started building it way back in 1998, and people have been living on board since the year 2000. So he's going to talk about what we're learning now to help extend the mission duration time, and then all the resources we'll need in order to survive on a long duration mission to Mars.
Absolutely. Great to be here with you today. And I got to help build the International Space Station, and I hope to go live in it again one day. My ride to space only took me about 8.5 minutes. It takes about 8.5 minutes on the Space Shuttle or a Soyuz to get to low Earth orbit. And now we can even dock to the space station and be there in a few hours. But as the introductory video said, we're looking at really long duration missions to get to Mars. And what is the effect on the human body? Yesterday, Scott Kelly and Mikhail Kornienko celebrated their halfway point for their 1-year mission. There are challenges living in low Earth orbit, and there'll be some challenges in deep space in terms of human health. Some of the things we're learning is bone loss. The minute we get on low Earth orbit, our bones start to lose calcium. But we have found through regular exercise that we're able to actually maintain good bone health and strength. And this is important because if we send someone all the way to Mars, they're going to have to survive a landing and then get out and start working. And so they have to be in a physical condition that they can actually get there. Having a 1-year crew up there working and exercising and then doing a test to see how they're behaving and how their bodies are performing is absolutely critical to our mission to Mars. We've also noticed that there's some vision shift issues in astronauts that have come home. Some people tend to get a little farsighted, and so we're doing a lot of studies now to try to identify, is this a dietary thing? Is it related to microgravity? Is it a combination of all of those things, or some factors we haven't figured out? But again, we're going to send someone on a long mission. We don't want big vision shifts and then have them get there and not be able to even operate the equipment or read the instructions for the equipment that they're sent along with. The final thing, my first night in orbit, I'll never forget, after a long day, leaving Florida and then finding yourself in outer space, went to bed at night and closed my eyes, and all of a sudden I started sensing all these flashes inside my eyes while they were closed. And no one had really given me a warning that this was going to happen. And what it was the subatomic particles from the sun, radiation, striking the back of my eye. On the International Space Station, we are protected by the Earth's magnetic field. Once we leave that protective cover and head out to Mars, we're going to be exposing crew to radiation. Andy was fortunate. He said yesterday he could just write off radiation and create a fabric that would protect everyone that's lightweight. But that's a real technical challenge we're going to have to deal with on the surface of Mars. Water is also very critical to us. As Dr. McKay said, there are the ample sources perhaps on the surface of Mars for us to utilize the resources that are there. On the International Space Station, our water has to all come up from Earth, but we're able to recycle almost all of it on a daily basis. So we can take humidity out of the atmosphere. We can take perspiration that is evaporated. We even reprocess urine into drinking water that is cleaner than you're getting out of your drinking fountains in the school hallway. I know you guys probably hold those in suspicion anyway, but it's a really important technology for when we do get to Mars. Food. All of our food also has to come from Earth. I'm showing you two things here. This is mac and cheese, and these are shrimp, as only NASA can package them, living here on the Gulf Coast of Texas, but they actually taste pretty good. But all of our food, again, has to come from Earth. And just a couple of weeks ago, the crew actually on the International Space Station actually harvested some lettuce that was grown on the International Space Station. And we are going to have to, as we head out beyond low Earth orbit and start exploring other planetary surfaces, we're going to have to be able to grow our own food. And so that was a really important step on our trip to Mars. The communication is it's instantaneous from the International Space Station. I could call home, I could call my friends, I could call and order a pizza if I wanted. I couldn't get it delivered to where I needed it, at least on an International Space Station. But it's also the way we interact with our ground control was instantaneous. When we go to Mars, there's going to be a comm delay of 20 to 30 minutes. And I've actually been on a mission living under the ocean where we pretended we had a 20 to 30 minute comm delay to simulate what it would be like on Mars. And it's challenging. And that's captured really well in the book. You're waiting for instructions in a 20 to 30 minutes, and then you got a question about the instructions. So comm has to be really succinct. And it's also going to drive the way we operate. On the International Space Station, Mission Control basically plans out most of our day. We're going to have to give astronauts, as they head out to Mars, hey, here are some of our major objectives. You guys figure out how to do it. And I really appreciated kind of the creative problem solving that happened in the book, because I think that's really how it's going to have to unfold on kind of a day-to-day basis. You can ask the ground for help, but you can't afford to sit and wait for an answer all the time. And finally, air, atmosphere. Again, the ingredients are going to be there on the surface for us. But on the International Space Station, it all comes from down here on Earth. We send it up, we're able to scrub it and purify it and keep it breathable. But that's another kind of thing we're going to have to mine and have there for us on the surface of Mars. So what I've kind of thrown out to you is there's a lot of technical challenges out there waiting. We're working on them as hard as we can here at NASA to get ready for the voyage, and really all around the country, all around the world. But these challenges are going to be there for you guys, and study your science, technology, engineering, math, and come be a part of this amazing journey. Because as we heard in the trailer, I mean, it's going to be a fundamental moment in human history when the first human takes their first step on Mars, and to be a part of that is really something spectacular. Just like it's a great honor to be here every day, being a part of the International Space Station team. All
right, excellent, and keep that going. We want to actually see what you guys have as far as questions to our subject matter experts, and this is the way we're going to work it. We're going to go through the high schools. We're going to ask 2 questions at each location. Then after that, we also have questions that are going to be available on the DL Info channel. So you guys can submit questions at dlinfochannel@gmail.com. So all of those watching the stream on the DL Info channel Ustream feed, if you'd like to submit questions, feel free. So I'll go through the schools first, then I'll take questions from Gmail. And we even have someone monitoring the Twitter feeds at #AskNASA. And if you want to submit a question there, we'll try to get them to either Dr. McKay or Andy Weir so they can include them in the program as well. So let's go ahead and kick it off with Holden High School and see what your first 2 questions are. Definitely unmute your microphone, speak loudly and clearly, and let us know your question.
On Mars?
And I think the question was, are there Earth Mars?
I can answer that. It's a good question. In fact, it's a question that will be addressed directly by the next NASA mission to Mars, InSight. It will be the first functioning earthquake detection system. We expect there to be earthquakes. Mars is not as active as the Earth, but it has, as we heard from Andy, the largest mountain in the solar system. It has a lot of adjustments that are still going on in its crust. So we expect there to be grumbling and rumbling on the surface, and we expect to be able to pick it up. So watch the results from the InSight mission. It launches in 2016, and it will tell us to what extent Mars has earthquakes. If I was betting, I would bet yes, it does. Well, I guess we'd call them Marsquakes, wouldn't we? Not earthquakes. But it's got that rumbling and grumbling that we are so familiar with here in California.
All right, great question. Okay, now Holden High School, your second question.
Yeah, what kind of resources on Mars are humans able to use?
Well, Mars is actually really handy if you ever wanted to colonize it because it has absolutely everything you need for life. For starters, it has water, lots of it. Curiosity, we only recently found this out. We thought that it would be just sort of this arid wasteland, but actually Curiosity found out that for every cubic meter of Martian soil, there's about 35 liters of water in there. So if you imagine something about the size of your refrigerator, if you took that much Martian dirt, you would get 35 2-liter bottles of water out of it. So there's plenty of water, and that provides you with hydrogen and oxygen. Now, there's also plenty of carbon in the form of carbon dioxide. The atmosphere of Mars is almost entirely CO2. Now, it's very thin, but it's still an entire planet's worth of atmosphere. So there's plenty of CO2 to go around. And then finally, the atmosphere is about 2% nitrogen, and there are nitrates in the soil. So those are your 4 critical things, CHON as they're called, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. With that, you can grow crops, you can maintain a biosphere. And so, yes, everything you need for life is there on Mars.
And let me add to that. As Ricky pointed out, on the space station, we're learning how to do recycling, high efficiency recycling of air and water and carbon. And so our need to extract them from the Mars atmosphere is minimized by the use of that technology. So that's an important way in which the tools we're developing on the space station will apply directly on the surface of Mars.
All right, excellent. Thank you guys so much. Now, Carver Middle School is still trying to get in, but they did submit their questions beforehand. So I'd like to go ahead and ask a couple of questions for them, and hopefully they're viewing on the DL Info channel Ustream feed so they can see their answers being read. The first question was, in regards to colonizing Mars, what would the cost be and how long would it actually take? That's a tough one. Unfortunately, we don't have any NASA administrators here on the panel here, but we are working on it right now. We're building the vehicles. Hopefully by the 2030s, we'll be actually working direct missions to send humans to Mars, but it's going to take a lot. Like we talked about, harvesting all of the elements that are on Mars, that's going to take equipment. It's going to take many missions to land that stuff on the surface of the planet before we can send humans and do it. So it's also very difficult to give you a price tag as well, because it happens incrementally. It's not like it's going to happen 1 year. It's not going to be this many billions of dollars. It's going to be over a 20 or 30 year period of time. So it's kind of difficult because the budgets go up and down from year to year. So it's kind of a difficult question to answer, but it definitely will be in the billions of dollars, but it's hard to give you an exact amount. So great question. Let's see, now let's go to another one from Carver Middle School. How does being an astronaut affect a person's social life? Like you went up on a mission, STS-119, how long did you stay?
13 days.
13 days, that's not that bad. Most missions are 6 months.
6 months, yeah.
And Scott Kelly and Mikhail Kornienko,
Right.
how long?
A year. Yeah.
So, that could definitely cramp your social.
But when you get home, the grass still needs to be cut, and all the things you get back from Earth, and it's a pretty exciting day or two, and then you're kind of back to real life, particularly here in Houston, Texas. One of my favorite stories is my daughter's first day of school when we moved here in 2004. She sat down in class, and the students were put alphabetically like they often are in the first day of class in elementary school, and they were supposed to announce what their names were and what their parents did. And my oldest daughter sat there, and my last name's Arnold, so she's up at the front, said, "My name is Carrie, and my mom is a teacher, and my dad is an astronaut." And the next kid sitting next to her announced his name and said, "And my dad is his dad's boss. It was Ken Bowersox's son, who was a space station commander and a space shuttle commander." So it's very common around here to have folks in the space business. It's a big community making this happen.
That's funny. Now, as an aside, somewhat similar to that question right there, the astronauts that are up on the space station do get a chance to communicate down with the ground in many different ways.
Yes.
They have to do counseling, or not counseling, but communication with the flight director,
Right.
the flight surgeon,
Right.
and then of course their family.
Right. They have video conferencing capability with their families, with with doctors, with schools where they went. They can actually have some choices of events for people they want to talk to. But the really nice thing on the International Space Station from an astronaut's perspective is the IP phone, where all you have to look and look up for the little green signal, and we got satellite coverage, and you can pick up and call anyone you want to anywhere in the world, and you don't have to pay the check. So it's a really nice feature. In fact, one space station commander, Bill MacArthur, his objective when he was up there, he called every teacher he ever had and thanked them from the International Space Station, which I thought was pretty cool.
That is very cool. Excellent. So thank you for those questions, Carver Middle School. All right, great. Thank you, guys. Now we're going to go to the DL Info channel questions. Once again, if you guys have any questions and you want to submit them via email, you can go to the DL Info channel at gmail.com. And we do have one. It's kind of long, so I'll go ahead and read it out to you real quick. It's from William O'Hara, and it's basically, I have expected that one of the challenges we need to resolve before landing people on the surface of Mars would be the introduction of dust into mechanical systems, habitat environment control systems, and the crew. It is a problem that it's very difficult to test on the ISS, but was encountered during the Apollo program. The Martian, he mentions, didn't really address this issue that much, but it is a very difficult one, especially how many EVAs Mark Watney did during the course of the book. He was interested in basically your opinion on the issue and what studies have been done addressing this type of issue.
I can start an answer to that because it's a very important question. And as the questioner indicated, this was a problem with Apollo, dust being tracked into the habitat. And it's going to be a problem on Mars, and it's going to be even a worse problem on Mars because we know now that the dust on Mars contains chlorine in a form called perchlorate, which is actually toxic for humans. It's a low-grade toxin that affects the thyroid gland, but it's an issue. It's an issue that's got to be controlled. So dust management, dust mitigation is important. Right now, what NASA is doing is designing spacesuits where you get in the spacesuit and the spacesuit never comes inside. You get in the spacesuit through a port in the outside. So plans like that where we really try hard to keep the dirt out. Don't bring the dirt in the house. It's going to be a very important rule on Mars.
One other aspect of dust is that dust is a huge deal. Dust and dirt and debris is a huge deal in a zero-G environment like ISS. But when you have gravity to hold it down, it becomes less of an issue. Lunar dust is also particularly nasty compared to Martian dust because lunar dust hasn't been weathered by wind and water. And so if you look at it microscopically, it's extremely sharp and jagged and pointy. That gets in there and it gets into your lungs and it trashes your lungs. It would be a big cancer risk. Martian dust at least has the advantage of having been weathered down and smooth, kind of like Earth dirt. So there's that mild advantage, but the toxins in it kind of make that still pretty bad.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much. And we do have several of them now coming in through the Gmail account. The next one comes from Alan Coleman. Basically, what different actions would it take to make Mars livable for anyone who wanted to live there in the future? And I'm not sure if they're referring to terraforming or maybe just picking out a small section in a geodome, a habitat, to actually grow things and be self-sustaining on the Martian surface. Dr. McKay, do you have any insight?
Well, I think the question can be interpreted both ways. Initially, when we go to Mars, we're going to need to build little domes of Earth around us, little habitats, which effectively is what the space station is. It's a little bubble of Earth environment that we can live in. So initially on Mars, we will have that, and we will try to grow it as large as we can to be as comfortable as we can. Now, eventually, we might consider what we would do to change the environment of Mars to make it more habitable on the large scale. And people have looked at that and studied it. It turns out the fundamental problem is that of warming up Mars and bringing back the thick atmosphere. But that is something that's in the distant future compared to an initial colony with a self-contained Earth-like habitat.
Did you want anything? No. Okay, excellent. Now, I also hear that we've got a lot of buzz on the Twitter feed at #AskNASA. I want to see there at the Ames Research Center, have they sent any to you yet? If not, I've got a couple here. Oh, okay, good. Let's pick out a good one.
Hey, well, all right, then I will just go ahead and start in here. Well, this one says, I can't read the username, sorry. Can most of the science in the book actually be applied for a mission to Mars in the future? Well, I hope so. That was my goal when I was writing the book, was to present a realistic approach. And in fact, most of the science in the book, almost everything in the book, is real science that exists today. It might be improved upon versions of what we have, but there's nothing that's like brand new. So for instance, in the book, they have the oxygenator, something that pulls that takes in CO2 and then adds energy to separate the carbons and release the oxygen. Well, there's an experiment like that heading to Mars on the Mars 2020 rover called MOXIE that's going to do that very thing. Water plants, water reclamation is already well in place on ISS, and just controlling the air pressure, all these things, the critical technologies are all already in place. And the other one I would say is ion propulsion, which is how Hermes in the book gets between Earth and Mars. That's also a real thing. There are Vasimir drives, and people are even working on even more efficient drives. So that way you don't need to carry 50 times the mass of your ship in fuel to get there. You can do it with much less reactant mass. So yes, pretty much all the science in the book can be applied to missions to Mars in the future.
All right, and Dr. McKay, do you have one?
Yeah, a question from fifth grader Julius asks, let me paraphrase the question a little bit. What was Mars like a long time ago? Did it have a lot of water? Or did it have a lot of lava? And I think we think the answer is yes to both. Mars, long time ago, was much more Earth-like. It had active volcanism, like Olympus Mons, as we heard before. It had water widespread on the surface. We see evidence of that. In fact, early in Mars history, it was much more Earth-like than it is now. And that's part of the reason Mars is so interesting, this early Earth-like period and the possibility that there was life on Mars during this early Earth-like period. Good question.
All right, excellent. Now we want to return to the active participants that are sitting very patiently. I bet Holden High School has a couple more great questions for our subject matter experts. Go ahead and unmute your microphone and ask your next question.
All right, what are the differences between Earth's atmosphere and weather and Mars' atmosphere and weather?
That's a good question, and it's a question that NASA is actively involved in studying, because weather on Mars is of scientific interest. It's also practical interest. Our rovers land on parachutes. Humans, when they go, will land on parachutes and be affected by the weather. So being able to predict the weather on Mars is just as important as being able to predict the weather on Earth. And we use a lot of the same tools. The fundamental difference between Earth and Mars is the atmosphere on Mars is much thinner. It's about 100 times thinner than the Earth, and it's dominated by carbon dioxide, which, as Andy indicated, is a source of oxygen, but it makes for a very different sort of atmospheric processes, partly because it condenses in the winter in the polar region. So there's different processes, some similarities, some differences. We're very interested in weather. There could be careers in science for those of you that are interested in weather prediction on Mars. So get ready.
All right, excellent Twitter questions. And also from Holden High School. Our next one, we're going to go to Holden again for the second question from Holden High School. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, how would the temperature affect like plant growth, and how would humans adapt to the different temperature?
Well, the temperature on Mars is just completely outside of anything that Earth life can handle. Well, except for like extremophiles on Earth. It gets down to, I think the hottest it gets on Mars is about 0 degrees Celsius, which is, really cold. And at night, it can get down to minus 100 C. So the way we'll adapt to the temperature on Mars is by living in environments that we heat. So in the same way that they adapted to the temperatures of Canada.
All right, thanks for that question from Holden High School. Once again, we still haven't gotten Carver Middle School in from Tulsa, Oklahoma, but hopefully they're watching. And we're going to go ahead and ask the next one that they had in line. And it is, what are some viable options for electricity besides solar panels? We use them quite a bit up on the International Space Station. They actually can rotate these big, large solar panels to collect the sunlight, turn it into electrical power. But what are some energy sources we might use to go on to Mars itself? And it looks like at Ames, they're deciding who's going to answer this one.
Yeah. He's going to let me answer this one. Lots of options for how to generate power in space. Obviously solar panels, but other than that, you've got, you're pretty much going to have to go nuclear. So you can either have a reactor aboard your vessel, or you can have what's called an RTG. And they're both nuclear, but they're very, very different. In the case of a reactor, you have an active nuclear reaction going on that generates a huge amount of heat. And that heat differential is what you ultimately use to make electricity. And that's just how a nuclear power plant works. An RTG is a very, very radioactive isotope that naturally decays. So it's not a nuclear reaction. It can't go critical. It can't have anything bad happen other than it's spewing a buttload of radiation. And so they put it inside of a shielded container that catches that, and it just generates heat. Now, that an RTG is what's currently powering the Curiosity probe on Mars. And that's great for fairly low amounts of power. Curiosity's RTG generates about 110 watts, which is just a little bit more than an old school light bulb. But if you want to have huge amounts of power, like the kinds you'd need to power an ion engine, you're going to have to put a nuclear reactor in space. And there are obviously political concerns about that. A lot of people wouldn't be too happy about the idea of nuclear reactors in space. But we have already put nuclear reactors in space. We did it in the 60s. The Russians did it in the 60s. And also, we have nuclear reactors aboard every submarine and aircraft carrier in our fleet. So, so I think that's probably the best solution. Also, a reactor is just basically infinite energy in a very, very small amount of mass. So I think that's probably the answer.
All right, excellent. And just to let everyone know, both the viewing public and the active participants, Dr. McKay and Andy Weir have to leave in about 2 minutes. They have another engagement that they have to go to. And so I'm going to ask one more question from Carver Middle School that's related to our writer expert, Andy Weir. They were talking about the research process in writing the book. You said that you didn't do much with actually talking to NASA officials or public affairs or any of the astronauts or anything. So how did you confirm the sources of the research that you were getting? What sites did you go to? How did you get the information? And how did you know it was as factual as it could possibly be for your book?
Well, about 90% of the time I ended up on a Wikipedia page. And so I decided to trust them. I mean, sometimes they're inaccurate on things, but they're almost never inaccurate on things related to math or science. And then in terms of the designs of things, like what Pathfinder is like, or the operating system that runs on it, any unreliable information there just comes from honest mistakes. So if you just check with a few different websites, as long as they agree, you're probably good. And in the end, remember, I'm just writing a book. It's not, I mean, actual human lives don't rely on me. If I make a mistake, it's okay.
That's an awesome answer. Excellent. Now, since they do have to go, we are going to stay with NASA astronaut Ricky Arnold. I wanted to see if you guys had any final words that you wanted to give to the high school students about following their dreams, about maybe coming to work at NASA someday, or something in the field of science, technology, engineering, and math.
Let me just say one last thing is NASA has a lot of intern programs for students. I first came to NASA as a summer student, and it was a wonderful experience. And I encourage students to pursue those internships with vigor. They're mostly for graduate students and upper division undergraduates, but some of them extend all the way down to high school. So NASA has summer intern programs. Apply for them. You'll find it very interesting.
And I would encourage anyone who's interested in a STEM career to go for it for a few reasons. First off, it's how we kind of push the knowledge of mankind forward. Second off, you make a lot of money. I mean, you don't make a lot of money working for NASA, so you do that to help humanity. But then later on, you make a lot of money. I mean, I was a computer programmer for 25 years, and I made a lot of money, so I highly recommend it.
All right, that is awesome. I love that realist view.
Okay, thanks. Good talking to you all.
Yeah,
we're going to sign off on this end.
We got to head out.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. Now we want to keep the questions going along, and we did just ask questions of Carver Middle School. So now we want to go to East Stroudsburg South High School for 2 more questions. And if they're Mars related, let's go ahead and save those for the very end. We can answer those after the program. We'll send emails back and forth because I have a list of your questions. But if we have any, then maybe about what we're doing now, how astronauts may go to Mars and what we're going to do there, definitely like to take those questions right now. Do we have one?
Yep, go ahead. Nice and loud. Okay. How would laws apply to people living on Mars?
How do the laws, like Newton's laws of motion?
Well, like
Is that okay?
I think he means like. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So
like,
I think
like,
we have a, as Andy said earlier, you're basically international treaty that is the international code for the sea. But for an astronaut, I mean, we're on the International Space Station. We're not. There's hardware up there owned by Japan. There's hardware up there owned by Europe. There's hardware owned by the United States and by Russia. And we actually all agree and sign a code of conduct that every astronaut, cosmonaut, whoever goes to the International Space Station There's expectations of the way we're going to behave ourselves and the things we're going to do while we're there. So I would expect before we go to Mars that that process will continue going forward. Like the code of conduct you signed before the first day of school, we get the same thing.
All right. Do we have another question from you, Strasburg?
My question is, how will astronauts take showers and maintain their personal hygiene?
The International Space Station has a 120 DC current, so flowing water is not a good thing. So Scott Kelly and Misha, who are up there for a year, are going to be up there. It's going to be the first thing they look forward to upon landing is a shower somewhere in Kazakhstan. So basically we use rinseless shampoo like you would do when you're backpacking or hiking, and just wet wipes and wet towels with soap. So the shower is the first thing you look forward to getting home. I don't know what the plans are for Mars, but I would imagine water would be at a premium, and that would be something that we wouldn't spend a lot of time and energy on.
Yeah. Excellent.
You're all in the same boat together, so it's good.
Now, we are running quickly out of time, but I did want to go to a couple more from the Gmail account. We've got one. One is, how will time affect the astronauts on Mars and versus the Earth? Now, for the International Space Station, you operate on one main time zone, right?
Right, GMT,
right.
Greenwich Mean Time.
Greenwich Mean Time. And that helps all the different mission control rooms around the world keep on the same time, make sure your timeline is correct and you're doing things when they expect you to do things.
Exactly.
For Mars, it might be a little challenging and different because we're traveling millions of miles away.
Yep.
Just basic communication is going to take a long time to get there and get instructions across. Do you think we'll operate on one?
Oh, I would think so. Right now we all operate on GMT, so the crew day actually starts bright and early in the morning for us in the United States. So we they're getting up around 3 o'clock in the morning Central Time. I would imagine when you're on Mars, you're going to want to take advantage of daylight. So I would imagine that the crew day, once you get there, would shift to take advantage of working outside and taking care of natural daylight, just like you do here on Earth.
Yeah, but the really cool thing about Mars is a very similar rotation time.
Right.
There's only 39-minute difference.
Right.
And it's also tilted, just like Earth is tilted. Yep. So you have the same similar effect of seasons throughout the year.
Right.
Where you want to land, it's going to affect the weather that you're on there.
Sun's just a little bit smaller in the sky.
Yeah, a little bit further away, so it's going to be a lot colder. So really wonderful questions, guys. Now, I do want to wrap up, and I want to show you some things that you guys can get interested in and hopefully take it from this program and learn more at home. We've got lots of amazing websites that you can go to and learn more information about all the things that we talked about today. Not only the Orion multipurpose crew vehicle, but our launch vehicle that we're going to put it on, the Space Launch System. If you want to learn more about the International Space Station, there's some really good educational websites right here, STEM Station and Space Life. If you want to learn about what's going on Mars right now, you can learn about the Curiosity rover as well, and also MAVEN, who's a satellite orbiting around the planet, looking at the atmosphere of Mars, and launching in March of next year, InSight. We're going to send another lander that's going to drill down into Mars and really learn what's underneath the surface so we can help those future astronauts maybe mine those resources that exist on the Martian surface. Now, there's also lots of other sites that you can go to just general information about NASA and human spaceflight as well. And definitely follow us on our journey to Mars. Now, you guys are in high school and you guys are soon going to be graduating. If you guys would like an internship at NASA, I highly recommend going to intern.nasa.gov and learning how you guys can do real work study programs with NASA, learn valuable information about what you'll experience outside of your academic career. It's very, very important. And NASA really thinks highly of their interns, and there's a really great success rate of hiring interns who go through the entire internship program. So I definitely recommend you guys thinking about internships with NASA. And remember, we're just, here at the Johnson Space Center, we're just one of 10 major NASA centers located throughout the United States. So there's lots of opportunities at many of the NASA centers. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining us today. Hope you guys had a wonderful time, and take care. Bye, everybody.
Thank you very much.